How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot to talk about in this video. We've got yet another Xbox title potentially coming to PlayStation 5. A game that I think is gonna be a ways away, but still one that I think by the time that it comes out, hopefully in 2026, fingers crossed, I think Perfect Dark is gonna be a pretty notable title, but we'll talk about that. Man, that Battlefield teaser yesterday got a lot of people excited. The gameplay trailer, whatever you want to call it, totally pulled at the nostalgic heartstrings. I do want to make a couple notes on that as far as one of the game modes that looks to be in the game. And you know what got me excited? The thought of a Sleeping Dogs game sequel. And while that hasn't been confirmed, it looks like a Sleeping Dogs movie is in development. We'll talk that at the end of this video. Maybe that'll pave the way for a game number 2. I don't know. You know, a Sleeping Dogs sequel is something that I've wanted for a very long time. You kind of just lose hope on titles like that. But we live in a crazy world, so we'll talk that at the end of this video. But right off the bat, Microsoft job listings have suggested that Perfect Dark could also be headed to PlayStation 5. Spotted by ex-user Roberto Serrano, and the job listing for principal graphics engineer for the Perfect Dark series notes multi-platform development more than once. Under the heading responsibilities, one of the points reads, optimize and ensure the scalability of the rendering features to support multiple platforms and quality settings, and once again does mention target platforms. I think it's a no-brainer that a game like Perfect Dark is going to end up on the PlayStation 5. It's interesting because Perfect Dark is an IP that is that is beloved in a lot of ways. I know people love the Nintendo 64 game, but it's an IP that also needs to be revitalized quite a bit, and I think the best way to do that is offer the game to as many people as possible. I don't think Perfect Dark is ever going to be this franchise, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think it's going to be this franchise that literally pushes Xbox consoles. Like, when I talk about exclusivity, what I always mention is you don't need a bevy of exclusives. You don't need 80 exclusives. Sure, for me personally, would I like a bevy of exclusives? Would I like a lot of exclusives? Absolutely, but what you really need is a marquee exclusive or two to draw people in. Sony has that with like Spider-Man and God of War. Microsoft had that back in the day with like Halo 3 and Gears of War 2. I think Microsoft should try to establish that if they care about moving consoles and have any sort of exclusivity, and primarily having one or two major IPs that are at least timed exclusives. I look at Gears of War E-Day, potentially Fable. I don't see that with Perfect Dark. I just don't. I think Perfect Dark is a franchise that you need to bring it back to the forefront, and you need to get as many people playing it as humanly possible, and restricting it from PlayStation, where I think the game can do very well on PlayStation, isn't the move whatsoever. I could see this end up being a day one title, especially given how tumultuous the development of this game has been. Remember that this was a game that was revealed back at the Game Awards in 2020. This will be 5 years since the game will be revealed. I highly doubt it's out this year. I have my potential doubts that it's out next year, and it could end up being a 2027 game. I could see this being an instance where the game is scheduled for fall of 2026 and then ends up getting delayed into 2027. That's my, that's my prediction on that. I just don't see it coming out for a very, very long time. Obviously, we want to see it turn out well, but looks like it could potentially be coming to PS5 as well. I do think, and I've said this before, I do think they got to be careful and not just spam releasing a bunch of their legacy titles as well as new games all at once. Like, we're talking Gears of War Trilogy, Halo Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 5 is on the way. I don't think you should, for example, if Gears Trilogy gets revealed and it's coming out day one, at that point, you don't need to release Halo MCC anytime soon, or vice versa. If Halo MCC is coming out on PlayStation soon, why drop Gears right after that? Like, you're kind of competing with yourself at that point. I don't think there was ever a year, and quote me if I'm wrong on this, that Microsoft dropped a Halo and a Gears game in the same year. Was Gears of War 4 and MCC in the same year? I think that may have happened. No, it didn't. Gears of War 4 was actually 2016. I'm completely off on that, and I believe MCC was 2014. Yeah, I don't think in the history there has ever been a time where there was a Gears of War, a big Gears of War title. I'm not including like Gears Tactics or whatnot, and a major Halo game that both dropped in the same year. So I just think Microsoft should be a little bit selective. You know, don't get into a territory where you're literally competing with yourselves. Don't pull a EA releasing a Titanfall 2 right after Battlefield 1 type situation. And speaking of Battlefield, man, that Battlefield trailer looked incredible. I mean, it was a short snippet of gameplay, and we could dissect it all we want. The destructibility looks incredible, and it totally harkens back to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, which I think for many people is the absolute peak of Battlefield. I know people loved Bad Company 2 as well. There's been a lot of good Battlefield titles, but I think recently Battlefield has left quite a lot to be desired. 2042, I know, got a lot of updates and has since become a much better experience, but in terms of creating an experience that a lot of people are going to get invested into and people are going to be talking about it ad nauseum, Battlefield hasn't had that in a very long time. I think this can be a potential... This is going to be a title that inherently gets a lot of interest. I mean, a new Battlefield game is always going to get a level of interest, but I think based on the promotion that they're doing now and the fact that it really does seem like they're going all in on this one, I could see it doing very well, at least initially. Now, it does look like Battle Royale is going to be in the game. Tom Henderson responded to a tweet, Battle Royale or not, he just straight up said yes. I think if you're creating a live service game, doing a battle royale, doing a title, doing aspects of a game that are incredibly monetizable, look, I have to think about it from the lens of, yes, I want it to harken back to the days of BF3, but at the same time, this is a business that's hopefully predicated, and we know it's predicated on making money, and they're gonna do whatever avenues, they're gonna take whatever avenues they can to make the most amount of money possible. So I'm not gonna complain about that, and if Battle Royale is just another mode to the overall experience, and the core experience is enjoyable, hey, I'm all aboard on that. Battle Royale just really isn't my cup of tea, but as far as this game goes, hopefully out by the end of the year, and hopefully we'll see a smooth dev cycle leading into launch. And lastly, Sleeping Dog the movie is reportedly in development, and IGN is hearing that Shang-Chi star Simu Liu is set to play Wei Shen. Wei Shen, obviously the main character of Sleeping Dogs. Liu tweeted out, first a movie, then a sequel game for everyone. That's always been the dream. Sleeping Dogs came out all the way back in 2012, so it's been 13 years almost removed since the release of that game, but man, Sleeping Dogs was just a phenomenal game. Open world action adventure game focused on the hand-to-hand combat, gritty crime story that I think could be translated incredibly well into a movie. I have no care to watch video game adaptations of movies that much. I mean, I've seen a couple. I enjoyed the Mario movie. The Sonic movies have been pretty cool, and it's just like, yo, I want a Sleeping Dogs too. The movie, awesome. If it gets more people invested into the IP, if it gets more people checking it out, and you've got Simu Liu as Wei Shen, if it actually comes to fruition and it sees release, because I see so many stories of, oh, this is greenlit as far as movies are concerned, this is happening, and then ultimately you just don't hear about it for 5 years, and then it gets canned, and you just forget about the fact that it ever existed. But a movie paving the way for a sequel game, I think would be incredible. I don't know who these days has the Sleeping Dogs rights as far as the game is concerned, but man, I thought it was an IP that they could have built upon so much, and I think the world in 2025 is much different than 2012. Look at how Dragon's Dogma 2 did. That game was a commercial home run by the looks of it. It did incredibly well. I mean, if people were talking about Dragon Age Veilguard having 80,000 concurrent players and calling that fairly good, Dragon's Dogma 2 peaked at 240,000 or 230,000 concurrent players on Steam. That game seemed to be an outstanding success, and Dragon's Dogma 1 wasn't this incredible success of a game. I think Sleeping Dogs 2, if it got greenlit and if it came out, it would be a situation like that where people like me that played the original would have this pent-up desire for the sequel, and we'd just be promoting the hell out of it, and it would, I'm not just saying me, I'm saying a lot of people would be talking about it, and people would be so excited for it, and then that level of excitement is a little bit infectious, and then other people would be like, what is this Sleeping Dogs? Let me check out the first game, let me get excited for the sequel, watch some gameplay, etc., etc. I just think there is opportunity for a Sleeping Dogs sequel to be really well done and do very well commercially more than anything. If the first game was deemed to be, you know, if it was deemed to be underwhelming commercially, it is what it is, but I think the game in 2025 is different than what it was in 2012, and I think people would rally behind a Sleeping Dogs title Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But that's gonna do it for me. Looks like another Xbox title will be making its way on over to PlayStation 5 potentially with Perfect Dark. Battlefield gonna be having a Battle Royale component, and a Sleeping Dogs movie is in development and potentially could pave the way for a sequel title. Seemingly you gonna be playing Wei Shen. That's gonna do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.